Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends bounce media recommendations all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Aaron.
And I thought I missed Peter Keating.
And this week, we continue with part 2 of Ayn Rand's 1943 screed against mediocrity, The Fountainhead. Before we try to seduce a newspaper mogul to achieve world domination, remember you can help us on Mortified the Legitimacy Quest by smashing that like and subscribe on YouTube, leaving us a review on iTunes, or just telling a friend about the show. Leyla,
Aaron?
Feels kind of bad to record this particular episode during International Women's Month.
I think earnestly and critically engaging with the work of a flawed woman is exactly the way we should be honoring International Women's Month.
You know what? That's so true. We love women, and loving women includes remembering that some women suck shit.
Yes. And hey, International Women's Month, she's an international woman. That's an immigrant.
Yeah. Shout outs. Okay, Leyla, I'll be completely honest. So we had to take a small break in between the reading of the first part of this book and parts 2 and 3 of this book. In between, so it's been about a month since I've actually read these sections. I have, of course, in between, I did read the entirety of Naomi Novik's Temeraire series, which is about Napoleonic dragon warfare, because there's a tabletop game coming out based on that probably next year. And I gotta tell you, man, I wish I was reading that series still. It was a lot more fun than this that we're about to talk about. Listeners, we're going to talk about sexual violence here for just immediately once we start getting into the analysis. So keep that in mind. We'll probably give you another warning when it comes up, but it's really early in part 2.
Yeah, but hey, it's the only instance in this part. So I think for the rest of the book, but
I sure hope so.
I'm just trying to
hedge. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you feel about parts 2 and 3?
I think I read part 1 with a kind of like nostalgic glee a little bit, where I was just like, oh my god, this is so much gayer than I remember it. Don't worry, every time we see Peter Keating, still a lot of queer reading happening there. But parts 2 and 3 is where we really get into Randian objectivism. And Ayn Rand is wrong. She's just wrong.
It's very funny for the creator of the objectivist philosophy to be completely wrong on every level.
Oh, man. But the thing that I keep saying and writing down in my notes over and over and over again, other than this is Ayn Rand's death note, which it is, is that her observations about certain types of people are correct. It's just that her diagnosis and therefore her remedy are wrong. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. She's a lot.
How did you feel reading parts a month ago? What did it channel yourself from a month ago?
I remember feeling really tired. I'm not entirely certain that this is what gave me my current back pain, but it didn't help. I do
think carrying the weight of Randian objectivism will do that to you.
Yeah, like Dominique's statue, my spine is being crushed by the thoughts and concepts of this novel. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, right? I think there's nothing that surprised me in the second and third parts of this book. That's not true. I'm surprised by the level of just straight up kink that's happening here.
Oh, yeah, psychically negotiated kink. We'll get into it. Okay, you need to understand. You need to understand, I think, 3 things to understand this book. Autism. Kink. And I forgot what the third thing was.
Republicans, maybe?
Libertarianism. I struggle with it, because you can't really frame her politics in modern terminology, because I think the politics of today are so far removed from the kinds of battles she was fighting.
Right.
But, yeah, if you understand kink and autism, this book
You're 80% of the way there, yeah. Leyla, it is your turn to do the plot summary. Good luck.
There is. In parts 2 and 3 of Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead, we get the backstories of columnist and writer Ellsworth Toohey and Gail Winand, the owner of the Winand Papers. Parentheses, they are both caricatures of capitalism and also communism. End parentheses, period. Plot-wise, Dominique... God, I have to go all the way back, huh? So much has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Plot-wise, Dominique writes a column condemning Howard Roark's newest commission, the Enright House, and then goes to his apartment to tell him she's going to destroy him and that is the thing that ultimately makes her super horny, and so they begin their sexual relationship. Semicolon. Every single time she does nasty sick fuck shit to him to ruin his career, they bone. This continues.
This is the third sentence.
I know.
I'm willing to give you an additional 5 sentences for part 3.
You know what? If we could just make it 7 total, I think I can do it.
Okay, go for it. Try 7.
Okay. Howard's biggest and final commission for this stint in New York City is something called the Stoddard Temple, what he doesn't know is that this is a plot by Ellsworth Toohey to ruin his reputation, as this is supposed to be a pan-religious offering of the indomitable human spirit, where he will get an unlimited budget to do whatever he wants. Unfortunately, the thing that he wants to do is not religious at all, but it's that kind of like Randian objectivist celebration of the indomitable nature of man. Period. For this building, he hires Stephen Mallory to make a sculpture of Dominique standing naked in exultation. This pisses everybody off and forces Howard Roark to leave New York City amid a scandal he probably doesn't really give a shit about. Period. Afterwards, Dominique decides to punish herself by marrying Peter Keating. She becomes a passive and pliant wife, again, to punish. That does not go well. Gail Wind ends up getting possession of her naked statue and then forces her invites her to divorce Peter and marry him instead, because they are both Randian objectivist freaks who have a psychic kink understanding of each other, just like Dominique and Howard. Parentheses, oh god, I didn't even mention the psychic kink dubcon negotiation that Dominique and Howard had, end parentheses. There was a really bad play involved, and also Catherine sucks now.
Yeah, that's, that, you did technically state a bunch of plot stuff that happened in the second and third parts of this book. Yeah. Listen, I mean, this was probably, 100, not 100,000 words, but maybe 50,000 words worth of shit. So
pages, yeah.
Right. It was a lot of shit that you had to cover. So I think you did a great job.
And so much plot happened in the first part, and then not a lot of plot, but a lot of consequential, talking.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we've talked about this before. A lot of the talking is not establishing new stuff. It's just reiterating Rand's positions on her, beliefs about the world, which are, unpleasant to understand. But yeah, I've got some scenes that we can kind of dive into. But yeah, I think one of the things that I was thinking about was about how Roark is going to change over the course of this novel. And I think the only real thing that surprises him, there's a moment when he is getting offered the commission to do the Stoddard Temple, where Ellsworth Toohey, the critic, kind of coaches the guy Stoddard, the guy who commissions Roark, to say something. And he basically is like, hey, you do actually have a religion. It's your love of mankind. And that's the only like thing that changes in Rourke. Rourke is like, yeah, actually I do. I love man and the accomplishments of man so much that it is like a religion to me, which is what makes him agree to take on this temple. And that's basically the only, like, does Rourke change at all?
No,
throughout
and
the
that's
rest
the
of
point.
I find it so boring to be like, yeah, here's the perfect man. At 22 years old, he's already reached the apex of his growth and understanding of the world.
Well, because we meet him standing naked atop a cliff. This is it. This is the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So where we left off last time, he had run out of money. He was going to go get sent to this quarry in Connecticut, right? The quarry that's owned by
Gail Winnett. Nope. Guy Francone.
Guy Francone, right? Dominique's dad.
We barely see. I think we see him for 6 sentences in all 300 pages of this.
Yeah, basically, what happens with him is he gives the firm over to Peter, right? That's like the only thing that happens with him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
But Rourke goes to work at this quarry, and this is where Rourke meets Dominique, and this is where we talk about sexual assault. So maybe skip ahead, 10 minutes.
So let's start here. Ayn Rand has a really weird relationship with sex.
Mm-hmm.
Generally. Where it is very much a spiritual act.
Okay. You've talked before about how Rourke is her priest, right?
Rourke is the priest. Dominique is the priestess. But that's just not just with them, right? It's just like all the time. Actually, the way she talks about bodies is in a very... She rails against the separation of the self from the body all the time, right? Because she talks about Tui in the way that he talks and the way he writes all the time, where like anything that separates you from yourself is bad. And then so sex becomes kind of this like ultimate joining of two spirits. It's really weird. But the way that this meeting happens is Howard is working in the quarry. And Dominique just shows up to the quarry. She has no idea who he is. Shows up to the quarry to watch all the workers. And because he's ginger, she just like...
He has the anime hair.
He has the anime hair. He's a shounen protagonist. I'm telling you, she should be writing shounen. She like sees him. And then they have like what I can only describe as a Death Note ass psychic kink negotiation.
I wanna read some of the quotes that I wrote down before she even talks to him. She calls over the guy who's managing the quarry because she's like, "Hey, I've noticed that this worker has that man a jail record." She asked, pointing down. Well, I couldn't say, wouldn't know them all by sight. She hoped he had. She wondered whether they whipped convicts nowadays. She hoped they did. That's how it starts. It starts with being like, "Man, I'd love to see that man flogged."
She went back to the quarry 3 days later. She stopped over the ledge where he worked, and she stood watching him openly. When he raised his head, she did not turn away. Her glance told him that she knew the meaning of her action, but did not respect him enough to conceal it. His glance told her only that he had expected her to come. He bent over his drill and went on with his work. She waited. She waited for him to look up. She knew that he knew it. He would not look again.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
These people are hundreds of feet apart, but they're having full-on telepathic battle of the wills. It's Ellen White all over again.
Yeah. And she thought with a vicious thrill of what these people would do if they read her mind in this moment, if they knew she was just thinking of a man in a quarry, thinking of his body with a sharp intimacy as one does not think of another's body, right? This is all them being drawn magnetically to each other with the power of their horny. And
yes,
eventually, right, she decides for whatever reason, she like goes and scratches like the marble like flooring around a fireplace that she has or something.
Yes.
And she goes up to Rourke and she's like, quote, "There's a bit of a dirty job to be done at my house. would you like to make some extra money? Which could just be straight out of any pornography that you've seen in the last 40 years. Ridiculous proposition. But, basically she hires him to go and replace it. She sees how strong he is because, like, she could only scratch this, like, marble thing or this granite stone, face. And he takes his, tools and breaks it with one powerful stride. And she loves that. And then she asks him to, replace it. And then, like, 3 days later, some other guy from the quarry comes and she's mad about it. And then she goes and she, like, takes a horse out to go, like, upbraid him about it. And then when he doesn't give, like, a satisfactory answer, she whacks him with a stick.
This is all foreplay.
Yeah.
Because when he orders the marble, she waits for it day and fucking night. She's like, I'm obsessed with this marble. I need this marble. The marble comes. She's like, set it tonight. And he only responds, you'll have it set tonight. And then he sends the other guy. This is foreplay. It's crazy. And then, so this is when the assault happens. And it is literally, she calls it a rape. It is a rape. It's played like a rape, but it is in the function of this allegory. Not really. Because it is also the beginning of their romance. So again, this is an allegory. I want to be as careful as I can talking about this. It's an allegory, and, like, this is what Dominique says afterwards. She says, they had been united in an understanding beyond the violence, beyond the deliberate obscenity of his action. Had she meant less to him, he would not have taken her as he did. Had he meant less to her, she would not have fought so desperately. The unrepeatable exultation was in knowing that they both understood this. First of all, what the fuck are you talking about, Ayn Rand?
This doesn't make any fucking sense, but sure.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. Second of all, again, if you understand kink, you get a little closer to understanding this woman who wrote in the 40s. Like, this is what it's supposed to be in this allegory. Like, to talk about it seriously, what it is supposed to be in this allegory is a kind of spirit possession. Like, this is very much the uniting of two spirits. It is very much like, what the fuck did I write about it? It's supposed to be as religious as a secular text can be. She's being humbled by a god that she has desperately craved, because if we remember from last time, Dominique was like, I want to be avenged for the fact that there's nothing to avenge me for. So she wants to be humbled. She's, like, constantly lashing out for that. The only thing that can do it to, like, the high priestess is the god of which she is supposed to worship. But unfortunately, because Dominique is so petty and unserious, because Ayn Rand hates women, it doesn't read that way. It just reads, like, to the modern eye, it just reads crazy. It's just like, okay, you were assaulted and you're into it. So the only way I can really read it is to be like, okay, you guys had psychic dubcon negotiations, and then, like, you have rope. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it frustrates me when I am not equipped to bring the analytical lens to a particular piece that I would like to. But yeah, like, I just don't have the tools to describe this as anything other than kink. Like, it reads so clearly as, not non-con, it's not non-con.
Dubious consent.
Or what, consensual non-consent is what I'm thinking of.
Oh,
but,
that too, yeah.
Same thing, not same thing, but,
Similar.
Kind of the same thing. And like, yeah, like I looked at the, I'm using SparkNotes to help write the outline for this, and the SparkNotes has like an analysis of this, and when I'm reading this analysis, I'm like, this analysis doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Rand foreshadows the rape when Dominique first sees Rourke drilling. She resents her fascination with him and hopes that Rourke will succumb to the difficulty of the task. Although Rourke is the rapist, he's also the victim, for he cannot resist Dominique and becomes a slave to his passions. What the fuck? Like, I don't believe that at all. I don't think that's a good read. I don't think that's interesting. I just also don't know what else to call this.
Like, again, it's like it's a spirit possession. Like, it's supposed to be religious. It is supposed to be a rape in the same way that, like, the Greek theology and Greek myth has
right.
Zeus,
right?
Raping, and it is. But it's, like, about a guy in with the shonen protagonist hair in New York City in the 40s. I don't understand how I'm supposed to take this seriously.
No,
like and because Dominique is like, Rand just hates women. So even this woman that is supposed to be the perfect woman is a nightmare.
Yeah, I truly don't.
Not to say it reads like she deserves it. I'm just saying she's
No,
not a great character.
Of course not. But it's right. I mean, I think the only way you can read it is if you just like don't take it literally. It's just that also it is very literal in the space of the story. So let's just, I don't want to like say that you shouldn't think too much about it, because I think you can, and maybe you can come to some interesting conclusions, but it is beyond me, and I just hate it as a device.
It's not well. Ayn Rand does a lot of really great execution. We'll get to something she does later that I found really fun. But like, this was just not necessary to do what she was trying to do. I don't know. I'm sure there are people smarter than me and you that can shed light here, but it just felt like it was supposed to be a religious scene, but because of the setting and because of the people involved, it just felt like poorly executed King.
Right. But from this, we get Dominique, like, she just becomes fully obsessed, like besotted with Rourke. She doesn't even know his name at this point. And which makes it interesting because she also she goes back to write her column for the Banner, and she starts writing about, she loves to dunk on various buildings, but she writes the column about the Enright house, which, really begins the relationship. I don't know if that's I think they meet at a party first, right? There's this like socialite party, and they like have the most normal conversation ever, but it's like extremely charged. And then she like writes a screed about the Enright house in the Banner, but it's actually not a screed. It's basically like praising it and saying like no one should live in this building because it's so perfect, basically. And then that's when she comes and visits him at his apartment. It's like, hey, here's what our relationship's going to be. I am going to try to destroy you. I think that's almost literally what she says.
Yes. I'm like looking at my notes for the quote, but I don't think I have it. I'm pretty sure verbatim. I'm going to try and destroy you.
Oh, let me find it. It's so ridiculous. Okay, here it goes. So she comes to his apartment. I want to sleep with you now tonight, and at any time you may care to call me. I want your naked body, your skin, your mouth, your hands. I want you like this. You know that I hate you, Rourke. I hate you for what you are, for wanting you, for having to want you. I'm going to fight you, and I'm going to destroy you. And I tell you this as calmly as I told you that I'm a begging animal. I'm going to pray that you can't be destroyed. I tell you this too, even though I believe in nothing and have nothing to pray to, but I will fight to block you every step you take. I will fight to tear every chance you want away from you. I will hurt you through the only thing that can hurt you, through your work. I will fight to starve you, to strangle you on the things you won't be able to touch. I've done it to you today, and that is why I shall sleep with you tonight. It's just the most toxic fucking weird relationship dynamic. She's like, okay, to take the novel at what it's trying to do, she hates Rourke because he's perfect, right? Because he is a representative of all the things that, Rand truly believes in, and that Dominique in her cynicism has not been able to believe in. He is, doing modern art to such a degree, like the perfection of the human spirit and the achievement of what humans can do, that it drives her mad with both desire and sorrow, because she knows that the world hates people that are perfect. The world loves to raise up mediocre people like Peter Keating. And so she's going to try to destroy Rourke because she doesn't want anybody else to, be able to have him or for him to suffer. She doesn't want the world to cast him down like she knows it will. This Rourke is her marble statue. We talked in the first episode about how she likes to destroy things that are beautiful. This is the same thing.
Yeah. And so in the framework of this novel, again, and what it's trying to do, over and over and over and over again, and especially in these two parts, Rand keeps positing the same thing, which is, if someone is truly deserving, if someone is truly a pure celebration of the spirit of man, then they will inevitably overcome. So Dominique, in setting these trials before Howard is like not hoping that he'll like not confident in that he'll break through anyway. Like she kind of talks about Howard like an inevitability. And when we get Gale's backstory, he starts out from tenements and gangs and all these things. He too is an inevitability. The difference between Gale and Howard though is that Gale doesn't have like a craft, right? Gale is not like a person who has like a singular pursuit. Gale just like knew how to break out and how to make money, and his craft, his architecture is power, and that makes him half a step below Howard, but gives him the ground on which for him to Dominique to have an understanding and for her to like actually develop a little bit of sentimentality towards him. And then the thing that Rand on the flip side says is that there's like a segment where Peter is sitting with one of like Ellsworth's fake councils and they're like having something, and Peter basically got dressed down by Dominique at some point where she's like, you don't want, because when they're married, she's like very pliant and doesn't want anything. She never expresses any kind of desire. And Peter finally catches on to that. And he's like, you don't want anything. You are dead. You are like a corpse walking. Where is your eye, Dominique? And she says, where's yours, Peter? Which like bars. And Peter can't answer it because all of his desires are other people's desires. When he talks about in that conversation what he wants, he's like, I want this, like so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, or better than so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. He doesn't have any actual like desires of his own. And so what he does to go comfort himself is to go to one of Ellsworth's fake fucking councils. And where's the thing? I know I have this quote somewhere.
Is this toothbrush brush in the socket brush?
No, but that lady's there.
Yeah.
The author's there. Where is it? It's glands. It's something about glands. Nobody's to blame for everything. It's all in your background and your glands. If you're no good, that's no achievement in yours. Or sorry, if you're good, that's no achievement of yours. You were just lucky in your glands. If you're rotten, nobody should punish you. You were unlucky, that's all. And what she's doing here is equating being poor with being inherently rotten. Because if you weren't rotten, you would be like Rourke or like Winand, and despite your circumstances, you'd pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you'd become successful because you would be the celebration of the indomitable human spirit. But isn't it interesting, Aaron, that her books have no black people in them?
I mean, I don't think it's interesting. I just kind of assumed she was a racist. Like,
but like, yeah, maybe in a vacuum, your little story works, right? Maybe in a vacuum where it's all, you know, people who have the opportunity to treat each other as equals. But you're writing about culture you're writing about the Great Depression. Your objectivism falls apart when you introduce race. Mm-hmm. She doesn't even include Judaism in it. She's a Jewish woman. Everyone is just like nebulously atheist. She's
publishing this in 1943. She's a Jewish woman during the Holocaust, right? Like, it is absurd that she doesn't bring any sort of racial or cultural analysis to this. Because I don't know, right? There's a certain way of viewing the world that makes you blind to anything that matters. But I mean, yeah, this is the thing about libertarianism, right? No libertarian has built a road, yet all of them, believe that they could, become a millionaire if they were just dropped in the middle of the wilderness, right? Like, it's just
right.
Silly philosophy.
and that's why it falls apart. Under the barest scrutiny, under the barest hint of realism, this is an allegory in the same way that any other myth is an allegory, in that it is a myth, right? Like, yeah, maybe there's some structural things that she wants you to take away from it, but she wants you to feel bad for being Peter Keating, but like even Peter Keating is not like entirely unsympathetic.
Right. I think we should contextualize the things that you're talking about, the councils that Peter is going to. They are organized by Ellsworth Toohey. We get like a long chapter that is like, here's Ellsworth Toohey's childhood, and they're like, he was a very nice child, and he loved to not want for anything, even though everybody thought he was so smart and so special. And even the bigger boys, when they would try to beat him up, he was like, oh well, I'm just gonna turn the other cheek, but also use my psychic mind powers to destroy them. And you make the point in your notes that like Ellsworth he's basically like what happens when you try to do a good thing, but you're doing it fake and you know it, just to gain authority or power, right? And his niece Catherine, Katie, is the inverse of that, where she's trying to do a good thing for the sake of being a good person, and it makes her miserable. And we kind of see that play out through Peter's discarding of her and Ellsworth's ridiculing of her. But yeah, like we get this setting up of Tui, because Tui, again, where Dominique believes that Rourke is as a god to be worshipped, Tui believes he is dangerous. He is the idea of he is an ideal, or he's an individual, right? And the individual, these great men should be cast down. This is because he's a socialist, right? He's a communist, and that's what socialists do, is that they hate people who are cool, according to Rand. And this whole second part is like titled Ellsworth Tui, because Tui's the person who engineers Rourke's downfall here. And I mean, I don't know. Do you have feelings on Tui's backstory? Did any of it stand out to you in a major way, besides being like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what And would think that a communist talks like?
No, so there's like I keep going back to the blurbs in the back of the book to just like see what I can pick out of them, and she writes about again, this is a woman that went through like Soviet communism, so I do understand, but she writes that basically the form of Soviet communism that she lived under wasn't just like economic equality, it was the government trying to take away an individual's individuality, like completely, like to rid a person of their I. And yes, that's bad. Like, that's not good. That is not what any kind of populist movement is supposed to be. It is not. Populist movements are inherently messy because you have a bunch of individuals coming together for a common purpose. That is what makes democracy messy. It is the battling of wills. When we talk about communism under a dictatorship, and then you do have the erasing of individuality, that's not good. That doesn't work, right? That is functionally not quite slavery, but like coercion by another name, right? That is poorly. And the reason Tui's a villain is because Tui's his identity is very much intact. He knows what he wants. What he wants is power. What he is doing with his like sexy mind hypnosis powers, as we saw in the last part, is that when he speaks, everybody else kind of clears out. And what you see him doing is amassing these like useless councils. Basically is like, he is finding the people with social influence to get ready to kind of deploy them for his own means. And he does that when he writes about Rourke's, it's not about the house, right? It's about the temple, where everybody condemns the temple.
Yes.
Chases him out of town.
Yes.
But like Katie, as you just pointed out, Katie earnestly believes everything Tui is saying, and she tries to rid herself of her individuality and tries to rid herself of stuff to do things that she thinks he would think are good and kind. But they're not kind because they are not self-motivated. They are not coming from things that she cares about. And because she has given up her I, and because she has kind of like sacrificed herself to Tui's desires, and then Peter also discards her, she literally gets uglier in the book. Rand pulls over to tell us she's fuck nasty ugly now.
Yeah, they do the reverse prom thing where like they put glasses on her and her hair is all tied up now.
And her makeup's patchy.
Right. It's goofy.
It's terrible. But yeah, so Tui's a villain, but like it doesn't, the thing that she's trying to say about the unwashed masses doesn't really work because everyone's a caricature, and she basically is like, kindness is bad because nobody actually means it when they're kind. It's like, yeah, not if you're doing it for acclaim. Yeah, I agree with you. When people just do things they think are supposed to be charitable, then it doesn't work and it's bad. But if you actually have a cause, I think there are many people we know that have causes they care about who do charitable work for those causes. And that is in earnest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, conversely, part of the reason I'm not a nurse anymore is because like I went into nursing partially propelled by Catholicism, because like I should care for the sick. And then when I didn't be Catholic anymore, I was like, I don't know that I'm doing this for the right reasons, right? I was a bad nurse. I wasn't helping people, and I was getting mad at them. And that's why I stopped practicing in the hospital anymore. There's obviously a lot of complicated stuff going on with that, but like I think that's true. I think that's a thing that happens, especially in like high social work, I guess is the right way to, not the right way to say, but like when you're working with people, you're trying to help people, healthcare, social work, teaching, right? These are all professions that, are ostensibly very good, but they demand a lot of the people doing them. And they burn them out in a real way. So like, and that's what happens to Katie. I just wish that like, there's just like a really nasty passage when she's talking about how, Katie is, getting transformed into this mean person where, because it's the Stoddard Temple, right? The Stoddard Temple gets transformed into this like home for
unnormal children or subnormal children.
Subnormal children.
Horrible.
We haven't even got to the Stoddard Temple yet, but basically, one of the people is like, oh yeah, soon every like child who will have a like a home like this, which is like a big extravagant home for children who have mental illnesses. And like there's a bit where Katie gets like so happy because one of the kids was drawing and the drawing like wasn't very good. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's a disabled kid, what do you want? Like it just, Rand's like contempt for disabled people really really bums me out in a major way. It sucks.
No one is a fully realized person to Rand unless they are kind of like a self-motivated,
artiste.
Yeah.
What do you think Ayn Rand would think of Hideo Kojima, out of curiosity? You think she'd like him, or do you think that she'd be like, this guy is too weird for me?
No, I think because in my head, again, I've said it 100 times, I'm going to say it 100 more times, Ayn Rand should be writing shounen. I think I said on Blue Sky that I want her to be, what's the guy who writes Naruto? What's his name?
Masashi Kishimoto?
I think she should be Kishimoto's Wario.
What does that mean?
I think if Kishimoto's writing Naruto, which is about two gay boys, one of whom is just the ostensibly kindest, sweetest little angel in the world, I think she should write just like opposite Naruto that is just as gay but worse.
Not Sasuke?
Maybe Sasuke's the protagonist.
Rourke's a bit of a
lead.
Sasuke.
He right down to the fucking Sharingan mind powers.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
Yeah,
something to think about.
Something to think about. So I think she'd enjoy Kojima.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very far off track. How does Rourke get the commission? How does Rourke get involved? What is with the Stoddard Temple? What happens there?
Hold on, before we move on to the Stoddard Temple really, really quick, I do just want to, a final point on Ellsworth Tui. To go back to the first thing we were talking about, which is Rand's weird relationship with sex and physicality. She thinks that if you're divorced from your body or divorced from sex, you are like, in this world, you are basically an atheist heathen. Because she goes out of her way to write about Ellsworth. He contended that the family was a bourgeois institution, but made no issue of it, and did not crusade for free love. The subject of sex bored him. He felt too much fuss made over the damn thing. It was of no importance. There were too many weightier problems in the world. So, because he does not care about sex, because he does not care to find a priestess, right? His one woman that he can have sex with in a weird religious way, that makes him like a weird heathen atheist in the context of this world. So I just wanted to put a pin on that really quick. But yeah, he is the one that goes to Stoddard, who is a philanthropist with too much money, and he's like, hey, I heard you want to make this temple. I have the architect for you. And Stoddard is stupid. So, he's like, oh, yeah, Ellsworth, you can tell me anything you want. And he gives him literally a script to go hire Rourke. I think you said it earlier, right? Where it's like, he says something along the lines of like, you celebrate man as if you would celebrate religion or some shit like that.
Right. His only religion is that of mankind, something like that.
Yeah, and Rourke is like, oh, sick, you get it, and takes the infinite money to basically make a warehouse with a statue of naked Dominique inside it, which honestly, work.
Hey. And he hires a guy that tried to murder Ellsworth Toohey to make that statue, so shout outs.
What's with that? Why did he try to shoot Toohey? No one, they've talked about it for pages and pages and pages.
Yeah, and they make a point to be like, he would not tell them his motivation, right? So this is the thing about Toohey, the thing about these councils and about Toohey and about the papers, right, is that I think Ayn Rand really doesn't like critics, or people who do cultural analysis, right? You know, she would hate that we're doing a podcast about her work.
Sorry, Auntie.
Apologies, ma'am. But like, part of that is probably just because like you're not actually making something, you're just talking about something. But a lot of this, like, we'll talk about it, but like a lot of this is about how Ellsworth gathers these, you know, culturally influential people and then uses them to create public opinion, right? To influence public opinion, right? There's a bit where Peter meets this writer, and like the book is in the quote we get from this fictional book is toothbrush in the jaw, toothbrush, brush, tooth jaw, foam dome in the foam, Roman dome. Like it's like really like sound association, right? Just like finding rhymes. And then Peter's like, oh, well, I was told that this is like a brilliant work, so I'm going to say that. And like, you know, we're showing Peter is being used as a vehicle to show how like people can be manipulated into having their opinions about culture when it's really trash. This culminates in the play No Skin Off Your Ass, which we'll talk about in a while. But yeah, I think you know, the reason that Stephen Mallory tries to kill Ellsworth Toohey is because Ellsworth Toohey wants to dominate the world by getting a bunch of newspaper writers together and then getting them to convince people of what is good and what is not good. And Ayn Rand, I would just love for you to come into the 2020s and see what happens when you don't have a unified media and everybody's an influencer, and that's where people get their news. You think it's bad in 1943? Ooh, girly pop.
Yeah, Miss Ma'am. Oh, Miss Ma'am, you have no idea what the fuck is going on now. Yeah, it's she really has it out for people for like tastemakers, because she really believes that everyone should be an individual upon themselves and you know, make those decisions. But like, man, we've seen what happens, like, as you rightly point out, when the tastemakers abdicate their responsibility to I don't know, help people understand how to look at things. Like, yeah, again, her observations are not wrong in the sense that, like, it is not great if an outlet feels pressure to review something and to say it's good because every other outlet says it's good, right? Or to be contrarian and say it's bad when every other outlet say it's good, or vice versa. You want these outlets to be able to hire writers who can explain on their own terms why they think a certain way about a certain piece of work, and kind of like, in the way that they write about it, teach people, allow people the space to critically engage with their critical engagement and to kind of have that conversation and be like, oh, well, so-and-so thought this because of this. I can kind of make sense of that reasoning, whatever. What she is alleging here is that people who are critics or kind of tastemakers are manipulating culture for their own nefarious purposes. And like, the way Toohey does it is he pans anything that isn't kind. He pans a play because it's not kind. But the kindness that he espouses is fake. It is a front for his own purposes. So her criticism falls flat again, because it's like, yeah, you are correct to say that somebody saying something not earnestly is bad. It's just that the shit you're saying, the reason that they're doing it, you are saying everyone's like this, but it's like, no, you've written a villain. They're doing villainous things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a goofy thing to get mad about. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the media environment is so radically different from 80 years ago that, like, I can't imagine what it was like to have a bunch of newspaper, critics say, dunking on your favorite buildings, and then, you being like, hey, this building's actually good. I mean, I don't know, right? Like, I'm sure it was frustrating to watch, like, new art movements get poo-pooed, but, like, I don't know. I've lived through the collapse of so many of my favorite media outlets, and like the people that made me care about media in a real way and think about media in a real way have all lost their jobs multiple times now. Rip to Waypoint, rip to Polygon. It's just, I can't, anybody who dunks on critics, it just always skeeves me out.
This is true of every craft. There are people who earnestly engage with their craft, and then there are people who pretend to engage with the craft for clout because they see that the craft is popular. It's the same for anything. It's the same for critics. There are earnest critics who do a good job, then there are people who pretend to be critics for clout. Rand is lumping those people together. She's saying they're all pretending to do it for clout. And because she doesn't like critics and refuses to earnestly engage with the fact that maybe there are people that are like the Howard Works of criticism or some shit like that, right? She won't engage with it because she doesn't like the craft. So that's her bias seeping in. There's somebody writes into Tui at some point saying, Dear Mr. Tui, what do you think of a place they call the Enright House? Again, this is one of Howard's. I have a friend who is an interior decorator, and he talks a lot about it, and he says it's lousy. Architecture and such various arts being my hobby, I don't know what to think. Will you tell us in your column? Literally being like, Mr. Tui, tell us what to think. Mm-hmm. This is what she thinks. This whole thing is like everyone's sheeple except for my beautiful anime protagonist Howard Rourke, whose cheekbones are sharp and his hair is red, and he fucks with the passion of 1,000 stallions to the point where Dominique literally takes a pilgrimage to go see him in the middle of the night.
Right. I mean, yeah, like, I think it's... I had something, but I've lost it.
I'm sorry.
Happens. I got so distracted thinking of Howard Rourke as Yami Yugi.
That is the vibe. Our Pharaoh would never.
Our Pharaoh would never.
She
does. Listen, we're being pretty critical of Rand, and we will continue to do that. She does have a cool party scene.
The building party?
Yes. You want to talk about the building party?
Do you want to talk about the building party? I haven't shut the fuck up in like 40 minutes.
I would love to, but I don't remember except for everybody's dressed as like paper mache buildings, which is kind of a sick... Like, I would love to be like, hey, to throw a party, it's like everybody make paper mache buildings and just like try to figure out how you're going to navigate a party in your dumbass outfit.
And she takes the time also to describe how the different buildings have been modified for everybody's physique, which I think is really good.
It's so good.
Guy needs his to be a little squatter and wider because he's a little chunky.
Yes.
But see, okay, we've been so critical of Rand, but this metaphor is actually, I don't like the thing she's trying to say with the metaphor, but the execution of the metaphor is cool because she sets up this party where everyone's dressed as their buildings. Everybody expects Howard to come dressed as the Enright House. He does not come dressed as the Enright House. Instead, he is at his office molding, I think, the Stoddard Temple or the Enright House. He's like making a model out of clay, and Dominique comes to see him at his office. And while she's in the office, she turns to the table, a strand of hair hung down over his face, bent attentively to the model. He was not looking at her. He was looking at the shape under his fingers. It was almost as if she were watching his hands moving over the body of another woman. She leaned against the wall, weak with a feeling of violent physical pleasure. First of all, again, the kink of it all.
Right.
Girl, you're down so bad, it's incredible. So basically what she's saying is like, here are these people who are wearing the pretense of craft. They expect Howard to come and wear the pretense of craft. Instead, what he is doing is he is working with clay, which the fucking rabbit hole I went down searching. Because Dominique compares herself to a building. And I was like, were women in the Bible made of clay and also Adam's rib? That feels familiar. And I had to go searching clay and the Bible and women, and I found some like girl boss clay biblical influencer.
You found the jars of clay, yes, yeah.
Boy howdy. But yeah, anyway, clay is like the material that is like religiously, that's the life-giving material. So he's literally making life with his hands while those losers are all like pretending to be it. It's a cool metaphor. Like, I just, you know.
Yeah.
But I want to go to a building party.
Yeah, listen. Maybe one day we will host our building party. Gosh. It's not at the party where Peter is they're talking about Rourke, and Peter's like, "Of course I know Howard Rourke. I know what he showers like. I know what color his underwear is."
No, it's not at that party, but Peter talks about Rourke a bunch. I don't think it's at that party. No, because at that party he's mad at him. He does that out because so Peter testifies against Howard in the trial about the Stoddard Temple because it all goes
we should set that up. We haven't set that up yet, but basically, right before the Stoddard Temple opens, he has the guy who almost killed Tui make the statue of Dominique. Dominique is only able to keep the perfect pose when Rourke walks in. As soon as Rourke walks in, she gets naked and is like, do you like this, Steven? And Steven's like, hold that right there. It's perfect. It's so fucking annoying.
And it's a pose of like exultation. Like that's the whole thing. And she can only execute when Howard's like, what in the voyeurism are we fucking doing here?
It's clearly it's just all kink all the way down. But anyway, the temple is about to have this big opening. It doesn't have this big opening when Stoddard actually goes to view it. He's very disappointed. Ellsworth writes this like very critical column in the paper, basically like tearing it down. It does end with like and now our chore is done. It is not hold on, I'm gonna find the exact quote. And that, my friends, is that. We are glad today's chore is over. We really do not enjoy writing obituaries. That's cool. Shout outs to Ellsworth. That's a great line. I would love. I don't write mean reviews, but I would love to write something that's like, anyway, I'm sorry to write an obituary, like, boom. That's sick. And then immediately afterwards, Stoddard sues Rourke, and there's a big trial. And, the trial is great because, all of the architects come and they shit on Rourke, and Rourke doesn't do anything. He his ultimate defense is he just like submits 10 pictures of the building and then leaves because he's such a badass. But the best part of the trial is Peter getting called to testify.
And Peter is hammered.
It's so funny.
Do it sober.
He is just bereft. He is the saddest, wettest motherfucker. Oh my god, I have to find the line. Control F, drunk. God, there's a lot of drunk in this. Okay, like, basically they're like, oh, can you tell us about Mr. Rourke's attitude towards clients? And Peter's like, well, that's the point. That's the whole point. He didn't care. I don't see what's so wrong with trying to please people. Was that a crime? Why should anybody sneer at you for that? Like sneer all the time, all day, like not giving you no peace, like the Chinese water toaster. People in the audience began to realize that Peter Keating was drunk, and at that point, I was like, hell yeah, that's why Peter is so weird. He is devastated by having to testify against Rourke. He does it because he's a weasel and that's the character that he is. But like, oh, it's so funny to see the yaoi that Rand has written. It's like, I have to destroy my friend.
Mr. Keating, if you're not well and wish to be dismissed. Keating looked at him as if awakening. He tried to control himself. After a while, he said, his voice flat, resigned, "No, I'm all right. I'll tell you anything you want. What is it you want me to say?" Right. Also, he says he loves Howard like multiple times in these sections. He literally compares his wife, Dominique, to Howard later in these sections, where he's like, you and this guy that I hate are the only people that could make me feel like this. And she's like, well, who's the guy that you hate? And he's like, Howard Rourke.
And she's like, yeah,
very hetero to compare your wife to your old classmate.
Yeah, your old classmate that you hate and you can't stop thinking about. Again, like, Naruto really is just like, there is just like a power dynamic. It's your wife you don't like very much, and the man that you went to school with that you dream about every night and every day, that you have a weird love-hate thing going on with. I was gonna say, like, you mentioned Dominique becoming Peter's wife. This is what happens immediately after that. Rourke loses the suit and he loses all his money. Blah blah blah. Who cares? this is the part where Katie and Peter nearly get married, and then Dominique steps in and is like, I need you to marry me right now, Peter.
Right. Oh, so really quick before we get to that, Dominique does also testify at the trial, but she testifies weirdly in defense by being contrarian of the Stoddard Temple. And the thing that she does, the quote that I pulled, is just, Ellsworth Chewy said that it was depraved not to take for granted that man is something which needs to be forgiven. Ellsworth Chewy saw that this building was of man and of the earth, and Ellsworth Chewy said that this building had its belly in the mud. To glorify man, said Ellsworth Chewy, was to glorify the gross pleasures of the flesh, for the realm of the spirit is beyond the grasp of man. To enter that realm, said Ellsworth Chewy, man must come as a beggar on his knees. Ellsworth Chewy is a lover of mankind, which I think is a really good distillation of some of the shit we talked about earlier, which is like the physical is the spiritual. To deny yourself the physical in pursuit of the spiritual is to be a heathen in the world of Randian objectivism. And I just, again, bars, though, where she's just like, yeah, Ellsworth Chewy is saying all this hateful shit about man, but he loves man, actually. So bars, too. But yeah, so she marries Peter, and in marrying Peter, she traps him in fake Peter. Because real Peter only comes out with Katie.
Yeah.
But
what is the impetus for Dominique like deciding that Peter must marry her? Is it just because she's like Rourke has been destroyed? Yeah, right. It's just self-annihilation.
Yeah, because if she denies herself wanting, then she punishes herself for defending Howard because he's something so perfect that shouldn't be defended. I think that's the logic. She's mad at herself for defending her man because he's too perfect. He shouldn't need to be defended.
Sure. Whatever. Listen, I was sick of their shit immediately, and it's not going to stop. It's
really bad. I'm telling you, I missed Peter.
Yeah, no, Peter's
Peter
great.
The whole time.
Yeah. The thing, one of the funniest things though is like in the third part of the book, they just put Peter through a paper shredder. He just gets absolutely fucked over in part 3 of this book, which is really funny.
He really does. And I just, I did feel bad for him. So Dominique beats. So him and Katie were supposed to get married at 9 a.m. Of the following morning. She showed up at like midnight. Had she not shown up at midnight, him and Katie would have been married, and then the book would have been at least shorter by 50 pages.
Yeah, I fucking wish.
Because Katie, Peter and Katie can only be real with each other. They're the only thing the other one wants, which is why Katie yells at Ellsworth, her uncle, "I'm not afraid of you, Uncle Ellsworth," when she thinks she is going to get married to Peter, because finally she feels free to have a sense of selfhood. She finally feels free to have the one thing that she wants. But because Peter is weak to his weaseling and wants the perfect wife, wants Dominique because he sees her in the same way he sees Howard, but not really because Rand hates women and Dominique is not as fulfilled a character as Howard is, he's denying himself the one thing he truly wants and traps himself in this, like, stupid play. And so when Guy tells him that he's retiring and he's giving him the firm, he desperately is, like, asking Guy, he's like, hey, you're proud of yourself, right? You're proud of what you achieved, right? Yeah? Mm-hmm. And Guy's like, I don't know, Peter. And Peter loses his mind. Peter goes, God damn you, you have no right not to be sure. At your age, with your name, with your prestige, with your... I want to be sure, Peter. I worked very hard. But you're not sure. He was furious and frightened, and so he wanted to hurt, and he flung out the one thing that could hurt the most, forgetting that it hurt him. Not Francone. That Francone wouldn't known, had never known, wouldn't even guess. Well, I know somebody who will be sure, Howard. At the end of his life, who'll be so goddamn sure I'd like to cut his throat for it. Peter cannot not talk about Howard. Always on the mind. Always lurking.
Always thinking about penetrating Howard.
with a drill or otherwise.
Yeah. We get the marriage of Dominique and Peter. It is like very grim to read. Dominique's just like complete flat affect, just like, yes, Peter, whatever, Peter. And that, that bleeds into the next part. But
that's also kink.
Yeah, she loves that shit. I mean that's the first part. That's the first part of our reading. That was part 2 of this book. We've gone for an hour. Do you have any like thoughts about part 2 overall?
The kink of part 2 of Dominique's marriage to Peter is that she's denying. It's still all foreplay for Howard, because she's denying herself Howard, as it was like this extended punishment that she's putting herself through for later, probably fucking him again. I don't know. My thoughts overall though on part 2 are, boy, oh boy.
That's about right. There's one thing that we didn't get to that I wanted to pick your brain about, which is like when they are constructing the Stoddard Temple, we get this thing of Rourke, Dominique, the sculptor Mallory, right?
Stephen Mallory.
Stephen Mallory, yeah. And Mike, the electrician guy from
Our
part
favorite
1.
character, he's back.
Yeah, he's hanging out working on the Stoddard Temple, and like we get this like brief, aside of them like doing the thing where they're hanging out after work, and they are just like talking and chatting and having a good time. And it's the only time in the book where I've seen Rand try to make her characters feel like human beings, like people that like each other and hang out and have a good time together. And at the same time, I couldn't help but think about our Matrix conversation about how what do Neo and Trinity talk about at dinner. And it's like, what do these 4 talk about? Because I've never heard any of them have a normal conversation.
Well, let's rule some shit out. I don't think they're talking about sports.
No. Sports, I don't know. I think Rourke might like sports because there's like winners. There's like supermen in there. So he might like sports, but
there's like a physical component. Actually, so band I really like, the Punch Brothers. The lead singer Chris Thile is religious, I think. He's I think quite Christian. He does have a song called Moving in Location, which is basically a religious ode to baseball.
Listen, I feel like people with a lot of weird ideologies love baseball. It's strange sport.
Great butts, good butt sport. I don't think they're talking about gas prices.
No. They're not talking about the war. Or no, they're not talking about the Depression. The war hasn't happened yet.
The Depression kind of rears its head a little bit in that the architects start losing work en masse.
Right.
But I don't think they're talking about it. Howard just goes to Ohio about it.
Yeah, he just goes to make a department store, which we'll get to.
Yeah,
I just... What is Dominique and Rourke's dinner conversation like? I don't know, right? Being in a relationship with somebody, you have to find things to talk about. For me and my wife, it's a lot of like, dropout shows and musicals, and you have to find the time to make conversation. But like, what do Dominique and they publicly are feuding?
I think they have the same fucked up kind of puzzle conversations where they're doing a lot of like talking about what they telepathically communicated to each other earlier, but they're talking in circles. Shout out Kiki Holcomb, who at one point is listening to Dominique talk and goes, "What kind of conversation is this? We are all Kiki Holcomb."
Yes, no, Kiki's the only normal one here. Yeah, no, it's the Death Note, I take a potato chip and I eat it, right? That's the whole thing that's happening between Rourke and Dominique. It's
700 pages of take the potato chip and I eat it. Horrible.
Okay. Part 3, Gail Wynand.
She does know how to open a fucking chapter though, because it's like Gail Wynand's holding a gun to his temple. Like, okay.
Oh, yeah. It starts with him being like, I should kill myself. which is also how I felt starting part 3 of this book. It's like, oh, only 450 more pages to go. God damn it. What do you think about Gail Wynand and his like weird like evil Newsies backstory?
Again, it's just like, it doesn't matter that you're poor. There's a system created to keep you poor. You just have to stand at your railing one night and decide you're gonna not be poor anymore.
That's what happens, basically. He's like, I was a little newsy, and then I took over a gang. And then my gang gave me the most important score of all. Knowledge.
Can we talk about the fight? Can we talk about the fight that he got into? Can we talk about the way she describes the fight?
Let's find it. Yeah, hold on.
Because basically, the choreography of this fight is shounen shit.
It sounds like anime. Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
Teenage Gale standing there. He heard his attackers coming a block away. He knew exactly how many people were coming. Then he leaps at them, tackles them mid-air, and then she says he starts swinging his fists in circles so fast you can't see them.
He seemed to have a motor between his shoulder blades to propel his arms in 2 circles, like a fucking Looney Tune. Only the circles were visible. The arms had vanished like the spokes of a speeding wheel. This is Neji, 128 trigrams, spinning motor wheel attack. I punch a rock to your nose, like.
It's literally. And I know this is an audio medium. I don't.
Hold on, I got it. I think I got it. I think I got a screenshot of you whirling your arms around. I'm gonna put that in the general chat.
Woo, that's all I can picture.
There, I put you in the chat.
Excellent.
That's a great Gale line in cosplay. It's goofy, but I don't know, right? It's very funny to watch this philosopher write a fight scene.
It's very Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Anyway, that's he becomes a gang leader, and then they steal all the books from the library, I guess, and then he reads all of them, and he becomes a super genius, and he keeps meeting people who write columns that he's impressed by, and then they're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I wrote this 2 years ago, and he's like, okay, great. That means I don't have to care about what you say. Sick. It's like, buddy, sometimes people forget shit. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah, everyone's a sellout except for Gale, and Gale begins to resent integrity, and that's why he's Gale, and he starts. That's why he names
his boat the I Do, because now whenever everybody used to tell him, you don't run things around here, and now he could say, I do, which is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Also, back to Kink. His entire apartment, glass. And every time there's a woman up there, he's like, we're fucking in the sight of 6 million people. Voyeurism.
Yeah, no. It's all just horny shit, which is very funny.
It's all Kink. Yeah. All the way down.
Yeah.
Gale and Dominique then have an understanding. I guess we could talk about the cook dinner. That was really funny.
Okay, yeah. Poor so Peter. we first have to start out with Peter and Dominique have been married about 20 months, and their marriage is not going well because Peter's like you brought this up before, but he's like, Dominique, you don't have a soul, and she's like, yeah, I guess I'm doing this on purpose, man. I like being with you because it is total self-annihilation. And she drops the bar about you don't where's your soul, and she's like, where's yours? And he's like, damn. I never thought of it like that. It is actually very good in text.
It is. But the other bar that she drops at the end of the last part was when Howard and Dominique are talking at one point. Howard is like, this is post-coital conversation at some point, where Howard is like, I could drop everything and marry you right now, but you would hate me for it because I would drop the thing that is attracting you to me, which is my work. And she's like, correct. And he basically is like, yeah, and I would hate you for submitting to me for inscrutable objectivist reasons. And she's like, correct. And this is one of the lines that made me really like this book, I think, because he says, to say I love you, one must know first how to say the I. Bars. Correct. Yeah. Just the things you're prescribing to get there are bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but their marriage is bad. She's just plays hostess all day.
Yeah. And it is ridiculous that it takes him 20 months to notice that she is just being like, what do you want to do today? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to do today? Oh, I want to do whatever you want to do today. Oh, you have to host this important guy. Yeah, sure, whatever, man. The most boring conversations, she never ever expresses a thought or desire. I mean, I don't know, right? There's terrible men out there. I'm sure there's plenty of people in relationships where they would be surprised if their spouse, their female spouse, asked for something. They'd be like, oh, that's weird. I never had to ask you a question before. But yeah, I don't know, right? This relationship's bad. Ellsworth comes over, they have this conversation, and eventually Ellsworth invites her to go meet Gail Wynand. And Gail Wynand basically...
it's so convoluted, though, the way they get there.
It's dumb. Don't get me wrong, it's stupid, but it does end up with an indecent proposal type beat, which I think is fun.
Right. Well, because Tui... Oh, Jesus Christ. So Tui writes something that pisses Wynand off. Wynand invites Tui to his office to talk about the thing that pissed him off, but surprise, Tui's like, I know you have a construction project. I would like to pitch you an architect. And Wynand's like, go fuck yourself. What are you talking about? He's like, I'm your architecture expert. He's like, no. You are my paper's architecture expert. You are not my architecture expert.
I don't give a fuck about what you do.
Which... I'm sorry, bars, right?
Yeah, it's good. No, Wynand, after Rourke, Wynand is Rand's favorite character in this novel.
Correct. And then so Tui apparently bought the naked statue of Dominique off Stephen Mallory from the Stoddard Temple, and then he sends it to Gail, and then they do just Death Note fucking mind gymnastics, the three of them, and that's how we get to the indecent proposal.
Right. Anyway, basically, Dominique, after a long and very silly, conversation, meets Wynand. Wynand's impressed with her because she's not like other girls. And Dominique, he's like, basically like, hey, you're married to Peter Keating, right? And she's like, yeah. And I'm gonna offer to fuck you if you give Peter Keating it's like an apartment complex, right? That's kind of what it is, like a bunch of condos. And he's like, why are you doing that? And she's like, basically he's like, oh, you're doing that because you hate me and you think I'm gross and you want to destroy yourself. And she's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's what happens, right?
Yeah, no, it is. I'm shaking my head because it's just, they're literally having a meta conversation about the conversation that they should be having. It's so annoying.
Mm-hmm. And then my favorite part in this entire section is when they bring Peter in on it. They like pitch it to him. They go to like a dinner at like a hotel or something, and Peter's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the contract. That's great. And then Wynand's like, yeah, and I'm gonna fuck your wife. I'm gonna take your wife on a yacht for 2 weeks or whatever. And Peter's like, wait, what are you talking about? And he's like, I'm gonna take your wife on a 2-week excursion. And then like there's a bit I have to find oh god, there's a really fun bit where they're having this like Dominique, basically Wynand's just like, yeah, no, I'm being kind of a dick to you, right? I'm telling you straight up what I'm going to do to your marriage. And Peter's like, please, Mr. Wynand, let's drop it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Wynand is like, that's simple. You're supposed to slap my face. You're supposed to do that several minutes ago. Wynand and Dominique were eating slowly and graciously as if they were at another table. Keating thought that they were not human bodies, either one of them. Something had vanished. The light of the crystal fixtures in the room was the radiance of X-rays that ate through, not to the bones, but deeper. They were souls, he thought, sitting at a dinner table, souls held within evening clothes, lacking the intermediate shape of flesh, terrifying in naked revelation, terrifying because he expected to see torturers, but saw great innocence. He wondered what they saw, what his own clothes contained, if his physical shape had gone. I like that a lot, because it's like, Peter is realizing how utterly impotent he is in this. Just like Dominique and Wynand are completely united in this, venture, and Peter is just like completely shut out of it. He is only audience. He is only both audience and victim to their weird psychosexual torture of each other.
Right, and of themselves. It's great.
Yeah, because both of them hate it too. No one's having a good time here.
And it's all self-imposed.
Right. That might be it, right? That's what happens when you uphold the individual to such a great deal. You put the individual on a pedestal and you end up blowing yourself up because you need other people in the world, I think.
Yeah, shocker. But this results in Gail taking what?
Can we take a pause so I can feed my cat?
Yes. Okay. Shall we talk about, where do we leave off? The cuck dinner?
We finished the cuck dinner, but basically Peter just agrees with he like, you know, he's sad, but he agrees to let.
He kind of gets bullied. He doesn't agree or disagree either way. It just kind of happens.
He takes the commission, but like, you know, it seems like it's kind of out of his hands at that point.
Exactly. So that is how we get to Dominique and Gail going on the the yacht that you were describing earlier. Mm-hmm. And they just bond. I don't think they even fuck, right?
No, they don't. Because like at that point they propose to get married, and then Wynant's like, I'm not gonna fuck you until we actually get married, because that's the real
part of their humiliation
degradation. Kink. Yeah, it's like, all right, whatever, man.
I'm so sorry to all the kinksters out there. We're not trying to poke fun at you. We're poking fun at Ayn Rand for...
Yeah, we're poking fun at Ayn Rand for not knowing that she's doing your thing.
I think she knows. The vocabulary she's using, I think she knows this is all a sex thing.
Okay, well, that's good. Someone's got to know.
She too eagerly conflates sex with power. I think she at least understands there's some emotional quality to sex that is other than romance that she is describing.
Right.
But, yeah, so... She also, like, asks Gail a bunch about the banner, and he, like, famously, Gail is like, I don't answer questions. He doesn't answer questions about why he calls the yacht the I do. All the women always ask him, but he, like, never answers. And then he, like, never talks about the banner. But when she asks, because she's not like other girls, he gives her answers. And here's another very telling quote about Randian objectivism. One can't love man without hating most of the creatures who pretend to bear his name.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, Rand. I don't know about this girlie.
Anne. I, too, hate some bitches. You gotta contend with the fact that you're just not gonna like some people.
Listen, I think it's true that you're not gonna, you know, if you met 100% of the world's population, most of us wouldn't get along with, like, the majority of them. And that's fine. Like, not getting along with someone, not liking someone, and also wanting them to have the highest quality life that they can, those are not, you know, mutually exclusive, right? You could do both.
It's kind of like, you know, when, like, sometimes when liberals talk about politics, there's this sense of, like, if only we got rid of all the bad people, then we'd live in a socialist euphoria, or utopia, rather. Mm-hmm. That maybe has euphoria as part of it. I don't fucking know.
Right.
It's kind of giving that, where it's like, all the people I don't like are subhuman. And if we just got rid of them, then we'd have a perfect society of man, capital M. Mm-hmm. But I think especially living in this time that we live in now, where, like, I look at maybe the news and I see some people and they're human, certainly, but you wonder how they can pack that much cruelty into their soul.
Well, they have shoes that don't fit them, so that helps. It gives them a little extra space.
There's room in the shoes, in the extra size that I have.
To date this podcast extremely, but...
Whatever, it's all... We podcast through history fucking constantly. Mm-hmm. I think to say that the people who I don't like are not human is cowardly. I think you need to understand man's capacity for cruelty and kind of like self-degradation and stuff. To admit that there's always work to be done on the individual. No one is born perfect. No one is born standing naked at the top of a cliff laughing because they're flunked out of college, you know? And I think Rand's philosophy is both absolutist and lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's what a high schooler thinks of the world. When
did I read that? You know... And I'm just so happy. Shout out to that theater professor. I'm just so happy to have matured to this point. Mm-hmm. I do want to see if he still works there, if he retired, or if I can get in contact with him. He won't remember who I am.
Oh, no, of course not.
I think I could describe the situation clearly enough just to be like, hey, I want you to know I've been thinking about you telling me I'd outgrow Atlas Shrugged for literally 13 years, and I did, and I proved it to myself.
Shout out.
Because I was a little afraid that I would read this and turn into a villain. Like, there was a little...
I mean, listen, right? When you return to something that matters to you, there is, like, listen, when I watched Knives Out, dead, wake up dead man. There's not a not significant portion about me that was like, should I go back to the church? Right? There's some media is powerful, right? This is Ellsworth Toohey, right? If you could control media, you could do mind control on people. So yeah, when you have that connection to things in your past, you fear you might regress, and I understand that. So
yeah,
do you want to talk about Dominique? You want to talk about Dominique right before she gets married to Wine and going to Ohio?
She's going to Reno, but
as
she's going to Reno, she jumps out of a moving train in Clayton, Ohio to do what? To take her second walking pilgrimage to go see Howard.
I can't believe she does. She does jump out of the train. I'm reading this now. I didn't catch this somehow. She could not take time to dress, afraid that the floor under her feet would carry her away from here. She ran down the narrow corridor of the car, down the steps. She leaped to the station platform, felt the shock of winter cold on her bare throat. She doesn't even have time to get her coat and her scarf. She throws herself off the train.
Jumps off a moving train to take another pilgrimage. This is the second time. Walks from the station all the way to Howard. She has to do it on her own 2 feet. She has to take the pilgrimage.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is her deity.
That's true. Yeah, and then he's just working at a department store there. You know,
you
he's
can read a great time.
Yeah. You know, you can read the contempt that Rand has for this, like, Ohio town. There are a few lights, cars parked diagonally at the curve, a movie theater, a store window displaying pink underwear among kitchen utensils. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. And yeah, she meets Rourke and she asks a bunch of like super mundane questions. She's like, "What time did you get up today? Where did you have breakfast?" He's like, "In a lunch wagon. The kind that stays open all night?" "Yeah, mostly for truck drivers." "Do you go there often?" "Whenever I want a sip of..." It's like this. This is just verbatim dialogue. This is what reading this book is like. It's fucking maddening.
But at the same time, she's like, is it where people look at you? Can people see you? Can they look at you? Can they see you out the window? Do they look at the window out at you? Do they see you? Because she has this obsession with, like, people are not worthy to look upon him. That is part of the reason she poses naked for his temple, so they look upon her. She is his shield. They can look upon her because she is exalting him, but they shouldn't look at him or his buildings. They're not good enough. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
She, in the same conversation, she says, just like, it's part of a sentence, but she's like, doing 5-story buildings for the rest of your life. And he says, if necessary, but I don't think it will be like that. She says, what are you waiting for? He says, I'm not waiting. And again, yeah, okay, I like that as a sentiment. I like the fact that Howard enjoys everything that he's doing. The person looking down on this Ohio town in this instance is not Howard. It is Dominique. It is ran through Dominique. But, like, Howard's chuffed. He's like, yeah, fuck it. Every building's a new creation. I'm in. Whatever. Yeah. It kind of makes me feel better about my situation because I'm kind of lamenting what's happening to the games industry. And I'm like, yeah, no, as long as I get to do the kind of problem solving that I like to do, I think I can be happy. I like it as a sentiment. It's just everything around it is. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, like, basically she's like, I'm going to marry Wine. And he's like, okay. And, you know, there's this bit where it's like, okay, you know, like he doesn't, you know, he or she, I don't remember which one. No, she says, I want to live here. I want to live as you live. We'll take a house here. You know, I'll cook, I'll wash your clothes, I'll scrub you the floor. And then he's like, Dominique, I wish I could tell you that it was a temptation, at least for a moment, but it wasn't. If I were very cruel, I'd accept it just to see how soon you'd beg me to go back to the building. Because, like, yeah, you brought this up before. You know, if they accepted this mundanity, this domestic bliss, right, they'd hate each other because the thing they care most about is the work and the holy act that is Howard Rourke's creation. And they decide, yeah, we can't be together because the work is too important.
Freaks.
And I'm in a bit of a rut with my own, you know, critical work, creative work. I hope that I never take my shit so seriously as this. Like, I think I'm very proud of the stuff that I've done. I don't know that there's anything that's worth this. No media is that important.
I think I've begun to see work as the inverse of what the Randian kind of like expression of work is, where to me, I feel like the thing that I inherently am expresses itself through the work rather than the work dictating what I inherently am. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Howard's buildings are the thing that he is. Whereas I look at creative output as like, here's what I am. I don't know. It's just, it's not that I don't take my work seriously. It's just that I can express my work in many different ways. It doesn't have to be this very specific thing. And it'll just be dictated by what I am. Howard only does buildings.
Yes.
That's all he's got.
Yeah, that dude. We got to get this motherfucker into Minecraft. Just gotta get a lower stakes output.
And you brought up the whole libertarians and roads thing. I know this is an allegory. This is all functioning within the laws of Rand's world. But if you think about his fucked up little crystalline apartment building that he built, the reason things are standardized is because they're easier to fix. Are we just creating a new industry for people who work on Rourke's buildings? That's not good. That's your only source of income. What happens after him? We gotta just invent new carpentry all the time?
I love standards. Standards are great.
Standards are amazing, says two project planners.
Yeah, it says the two spreadsheet freaks, yeah.
I was hiking yesterday and I did the first 2 miles were me thinking, ooh, I can't wait to update my trail spreadsheet. I'm gonna add columns. Freaks.
So after this, Dominique, resolves to go. Oh, hold on. There's one thing I wanted to ask you about right before she leaves. They're like walking back to the train station, and the wind blows a newspaper against her legs, and she picks it up, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Oh, it's just something to read on the train." He snatched the paper from her, crumpled it, and flung it away into the weeds. She said nothing, and they walked on. What the fuck is that?
Okay, so the part you're not talking about is where she is standing there and she's like, oh, this piece of trash in this town that he's in is clinging to my leg, and like any trash from this town, if he's in it, has the right to have me.
Oh, no, that is like, yeah, it's the same paragraph. This is what you could get when you only do audiobooks. You miss dumb shit like this, and yeah, that's hysterical. God,
and that's why he does it, because they have this weird psychic connection, so he knows what she's thinking because she's thinking it, obviously, because it's a Death Note. And so he is like, no, we're going to continue your little denial of the self. You can't have a part of me, this newspaper from Ohio.
Do you ever feel like a newspaper from Ohio drifting through the wind?
Clinging to a leg.
Oh, God. Anyway, God, this is where we get the Council of American Writers. This isn't like a huge scene, but it's one that I really like, as, we talk about criticism and the things that we, are trying to do analytically. This is the play, right? So Ellsworth Toohey amasses his crew of cultural critics and writers and stuff, and one of them is giving this play. He's reading the final words of his play, and it's I'm just gonna read it because it's very silly. Chuck, and why not a muskrat? Why should man imagine himself superior to a muskrat? Life beats in all the small creatures of the field and wood. Life singing of eternal sorrow and old sorrow, the song of songs. We don't understand, but who cares about understanding? Only public accountants and chiropodists, also mailmen. We only love the sweet mystery of love. That's all there is to it. Give me love and shove all your philosophers up your stovepipe. When Mary took the homeless muskrat, her heart broke up open, and life and love rushed in. Muskrats make good imitation mink coats, but that's not the point. Life is the point. Jake rushing in. Say, folks, who's got a stamp with a picture of George Washington on it? Curtain. that's the play that opens this act, and everybody's like, that play is dog shit. All of the people in the writer's room, including Ellsworth too, are like, wow, man, you wrote a really dog water play. Except for this one guy, who is like, yeah, the theater critic, and he's like, Jules Folger is his name, and he's like slow clapping, and he's like, this is a great play. Why? And then they're like, why is this a great play? Because I say so. And then like we get into this whole thing where it's like, there'll be $88 for 2 seats. You will sell out. It will become the most important thing. And the thing that like you actually get here is like, the thing that he says is like, it's not important to make a good play. To praise a good play. What makes, criticism good is to praise a shitty play and make everybody go see it. And I understand Rand being like, and that's why critics are bad. But like, as somebody who, once wrote a 45-minute, video essay on a one-word tabletop role-playing game, like, I think that's the fun of criticism. And if you can't get there, you're a boring person.
Yeah, I don't think Rand's boring.
I mean, it's not boring. She's got a weird, megalomaniacal, view of the world, and everything has to fit into it. But yeah, I don't know if you have thoughts of this. I just wanted to point that out because I'm just charmed by it in a weird way.
I don't have thoughts about this specifically. I do like that it becomes part of the kind of like humiliation kink between Gale and Dominique later.
Yeah, because she makes him go see it, and she's like, this is the world you made. You made these plays popular, and Wynen's like, oh no. And they're like, should we go out halfway through? And they're like, no, we're going to sit through all of this motherfucker. Which is hysterical.
She talks to him about his papers too at some point to kind of shame him, again, as part of their weird arrangement. And he says, I like to think that I took the worst refuse of the human spirit, the mind of that housewife and they're talking about some sort of like true crime article, the mind of that housewife and the minds of the people who like to read about her, and I made of it this necklace on your shoulders. I like to think that I was an alchemist capable of performing so great a purification. Sure.
Yeah, whatever, I guess.
Whatever you say, Gale.
I mean, it makes sense for like his obsession with power and being able to, take the power of the story and turn it into money. Mm-hmm. Sure, I guess that's fine. It's very annoying to have to read.
Do you have any other thoughts about parts 2 and 3?
At the very end, she warns, Dominique warns, I want to say Wynand, because Wynand, after they get married, they have a big wedding, and none of the Wynand papers wrote about it because
she gets married in black.
That's cool.
Work.
I mean, listen, slay.
1943? Like, come on. A divorcee getting married in black? Sorry, this book takes place in 32.
Still, yeah, even better.
Work.
It's great. Yeah, they continue to psychosexually torture each other. But like, Wynand stops caring about the paper because he's like so obsessed with Dominique, I think, is the way we're supposed to read it. And Tui starts gathering more support and starts replacing all of the like major editors and columnists with like people that are parts of his councils. And at the end, Dominique is like, hey Gale, you got to watch out for this Ellsworth Tui guy because he wants to dominate the world. And hearing straight up world domination as Ellsworth Tui's motive is so funny to me that I just wanted to bring it up because it's goofy. Because
Ayn Rand should be writing what? Shounen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read
the Fountainhead shounen anime. Our manga would go off. They would go hard.
I want to see the Gale Wynand fight animated. Fucking so bad. You know what I mean? There's just so much you could do. There's some really evocative imagery that I think would go really hard in an anime. And also like the bloviating speeches.
Oh, yeah. I want the person who does JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to do the building party. I think that would be sick.
Also, everyone should have a stance.
Yes. I mean, they kind of already do. Everybody does have a weird, whatever you call their magic powers and their stances or something.
Yeah. Everyone should, it would be great. I would love to see this. I think anime or theater is really the only way you adapt this. It's torture.
We're not going to watch the movie. I don't want to watch the movie, but
No, it's poorly made. It's not even fun.
right. I don't think it'd be a good time.
But Megalopolis.
Megalopolis will be fun. I can't wait for that.
Me and you sitting together, getting a little drunk, watching Megalopolis. It's gonna be a hoot.
That's gonna be sick. Yeah, I mean that's parts 2 and 3 of the Fountainhead. We got one more part. I gotta be honest with you, Leyla. I still don't know what the fucking Fountainhead's gonna be. I have no idea what the Fountainhead will be.
I forgot that that's a thing we were supposed to find out.
I mean, maybe it'll be his best. Maybe Rourke will get one final shot. Maybe Wynand will be like, Rourke, only you could save the world from Ellsworth Tui's world domination. Because he did, Tui, we forgot to mention, Tui does come out in support of modern architecture. He changes his opinions because now everybody is doing modern architecture, which, who the fuck cares? That'll probably be important in part 4, but I think maybe Rourke will get commissioned. He'll be like, get commissioned by Gale Wynand to build a fountain that's so good that it'll wash away all of the filth of criticism and mass media, and it'll everybody will wash their faces, and they will look up and they will see the power of the really, really good guy Howard Rourke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. I think your cat agrees.
Yeah, Scout is a big Ayn Rand fan. Weirdly.
I just turned to the back of the book. So, first of all, update. I have not yet heard back from the Ayn Rand Institute.
Wow, somebody's not achieving their... Yeah, wow. They're not achieving their potential there. I wanted
more information.
That's what I'm saying. It's very funny that the people that are all about, the supreme power of humanity and being the best in the world are slow to return mail. It's interesting.
Interesting. Fascinating, even. I did, however, find the ad for the high school and college essay contest. Wow. If I ever go back to grad school, I'll write an essay about the Fountainhead.
Yeah,
no problem.
I bet you will.
They do give out a lot of money. I think the Atlas Shrugged essay contest had like a $10,000 prize. So you know what? Good for them. I think the one thing I wanted to say is that this actually, us reading this came up in our book club yesterday, where we read good books that liked women. That was nice.
Yeah.
We read good books that liked women.
How refreshing.
That's my ask for Aaron when we're going to do Mortified planning. Is we need to do something that likes women next. But Ayn Rand actually has this book that I did shamefully order off eBay secondhand, which is her basically her teenage diary when she was still living in Soviet Russia about movies that she watched, American movies that she watched. It's like her recollections on Hollywood. And I think the thing about Rand that I find so charming is just that she does have this like very romantic idea. She has a great romanticism about her. And I don't agree with her romanticism, but I still like the grandeur of it. And it is so easy to see how this like very romantic, grandiose, lofty, like idealistic vision of the world can be captivating to people and can be really interesting to people. It was interesting to me, but like it just doesn't stand up to scrutiny. It just doesn't stand up to like anything. Even an allegory, right? I brought up like Greek myth a couple of times. There's things you can take away from certain parts of Greek myth. There's certain old stories that still resonate. This is an allegory for living in a weird capitalist bubble. And I don't know, we live in a lot of weird capitalist bubbles right now and they're not working out.
Yeah. I wish we had a couple more Ellsworth Tuis and a couple fewer Howard Rourkes over in Silicon Valley who think they are going to save the world with their fucking AI slop.
Oof, no comment. For the sake of my paycheck, no comment.
Yeah. Leyla, when we are not doing just the bestest criticism that exalts mankind and washes away all sense of doubt about the importance of the individual, where can we be found on the internet?
You can find me at LEYLSES on Blue Sky and Tumblr. I'm actually thinking about changing my Tumblr handle to kind of like cleave that account from my more professional branding. So I don't know, maybe. My recommendation for the week is actually the 2 book club books that we read, which is The Empress of Salt and Fortune and When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by, I think it's Nevo. I've never heard it said out loud, and I said it wrong. I'm very sorry. I should have looked it up before this podcast. What about you?
You could find me on Blue Sky at AAVoit, Tumblr at Monster Factory Fanfic, and youtube.com/AAVoit, where I write about tabletop games, ostensibly. Our theme song is Obsolete by Keshko from the album Filmmakers Reference Kit Volume 2. You can find more of their music at keshko.bandcamp.com. Leyla, do you have a way to say goodbye to parts 2 and 3 of the Fountainhead?
I must protect my own reputation from a disgrace which is your fault, not mine.
Sorry about that. We'll see you all next time.